Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for October 6, 2023. Every few weeks, we get together and we do the countdown of the top three, and let's have a go at it. Here is numero tres de los semanas, number 3 of the last couple of weeks. Okay, here we have Matt Gaetz. Okay, I'll read that to you. Representative Matt Gaetz, far-right Republican lawmaker who led the push that ousted Representative Kevin McCarthy, Republican California, as Speaker of the House last Sunday, just ahead of the vote on his Gaetz, quote, motion to vacate. Watching McCarthy being interviewed by Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation, that was last Sunday. Given while Trump denies it, Gaetz has suggested the former president supported his effort to remove McCarthy as Speaker. Okay, so here we have the cartoon. Here's Matt. There he is, watching. This is last Sunday. He's watching Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan as she interviews Kevin McCarthy last Sunday. Here he is, watching there. Okay. He's got his orange Halloween tie on there. You can see getting ready for Halloween with his orange tie. Okay. There's Matt. Okay. Okay. And here he goes. This is the interview right here. Okay, this is the interview. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, Margaret Brennan. Are you going to endorse Donald Trump explicitly? So she really wanted a yes or a no answer. Are you going to explicitly endorse Donald Trump for president? And McCarthy answered back, McCarthy, what I totally find is the president is going to be our nominee. And President Trump is going to win because his policies made America stronger. He went on to elaborate on other things, but this is the thrust of what he said. Okay? And here we have now Gaetz. He's watching this at home there, wherever he is, watching the interview last Sunday, and his response and his thought. President Trump ain't going for that McCarthy strong bullshit. We will elect a new House Speaker who won't break their word on how Washington should work. We are breaking the fever now. And President Trump, as always, has the medicine to end the disease now. Okay? So he said we are breaking the fever now, and that was my additive there. You know, going a little bit beyond, he's a very strong supporter and ally of former President Trump. Matt Gaetz is. So he's gung-ho for President Trump, and from his own words, he kind of admitted here that before casting the vote, he had made telephone calls. He admitted it. I heard him say it. He had phone calls with former President Trump. And that was all he said at that time, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So those were his words that I heard my ears. So he didn't want to go elaborate on that. So, and now he says that Gaetz has suggested the former president supported his effort. So you put 1 and 1 together, you get 2, right? So here is the cartoon that I did. Okay, so this is an additive. Trump always has, and I want to emphasize this because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. This is my additive here, and President Trump, as always, has the medicine to end the disease now. So I'll let you folks use your own imagination on my punchline that I wrote. Use your own imagination on that closing. And I'll leave this cartoon to rest now. Here you go. There it is. there was Matt Gaetz watching Face the Nation last Sunday with Margaret Brennan, and his reaction and the interview. Okay, that was numero tres de los semanas, number 3. Okay, number 2, numero dos de los semanas, number 2. Here we have Paul Gosar and former President Trump watching Paul Gosar here. Here's former President Trump watching Paul Gosar. There's Paul Gosar. There's former President Trump. Okay, and the cartoon goes like this. There it is. Okay. Former President Donald Trump watching news of Representative Paul Gosar, Republican, Arizona. Released newsletter. He came out with a newsletter which blasted Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, for speaking with Nancy Pelosi after the Capitol riot. Since then, Milley was on TV and he responded to that. So I'll leave it at that. But he did respond to that. Milley did. General Milley did respond to that since I did this. Okay? Adding, Milley had one boss, President, okay, for speaking with, okay, here we go. I want to start over and get this clear. Former President Donald Trump watching news of Representative Paul Gosar, Republican, Arizona, released newsletter which blasted Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, for speaking with Nancy Pelosi after the Capitol riot. So there was a conversation between the two about whatever. We don't have to dwell into that. We know what it was likely about. So we'll just, I'm just going to say here, adding, so they kind of elaborated on that and built built their own version of that. Let's put it that way. Adding, Milley had one boss, President Donald Trump, and instead treasonably, so they're alleging that this was treasonously, quote, treasonously worked with Pelosi to hurt him. You see? Now, I don't want to get into this, but the point of the matter is, General Mark Milley has an excellent record of being patriotic, devoted, and genuine general of the head of the. He was head of all the armed forces, the head of the armed forces of America, and he was given that position, and he's been very capable, and he comes across as a very strong, dedicated American general, period. And so here he's being called treasonous here, worked with Pelosi to hurt him, okay? So in the middle of everything that was going on, Nancy Pelosi and General Milley were conspiring to hurt Donald Trump. That was on their mind as the Capitol was going up and all this was going on. That's what they're alleging, okay? Concluding, in a better society, Milley would be hung. The below Trump response given Gosar reflected the former president's post on Truth Social. So what Gosar did here, he kind of expanded on President Trump's, former President Trump's Truth Social, and he kind of just kind of zoomed in there and kind of give it a boost, okay? It reflected the Truth Social. For Milley's purported pledge to give China a heads up on my thinking. For Milley's purported pledge to give China. So what Milley did, from what I hear, is that he called, the Chinese were a little doubtful from some of the remarks that were coming out from Washington, and he wanted to reassure the leadership in China that the United States was not planning an attack, or we're not doing anything that would be provocative or create any kind of problems for China, militarily or politically or in any way, and that things were at the base of normality, and we're not going beyond anything we've done up to now. So cool it. So that's what he was trying to do, not to provoke China into taking any kind of actions. Particularly, we saw what they did with with Taiwan before, with the planes flying over Taiwan. You know, when they didn't want to provoke another international incident or or anything like that. That was his. It appears that way from my thinking. Other people feel differently. That's their right. That's what I always say. I come out here, I give you the facts to the nth degree, and a little joke, and you decide. I always say that. You decide. I'm not trying to persuade anybody to think otherwise. You take my cartoons as you see it, but I always want you to think of it in humor and have a good laugh, no matter what side you're on. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so for Milley's below, Trump response giving Gosar reflected the former president's post on Truth Social. For Milley's purported pledge to give China a heads up on my thinking. In times gone by, Milley's punishment would have been death. Quote, death. Trump adding that Milley's post will be continued. So he said, I'm going to continue this Truth Social post about General Mark Milley and what's going to transpire here at another time. So he cut it short and said, it will be continued. So here I took former President Trump watching Gosar here. Okay. And now he replies as he's watching this, continued in 2024. When I win back the White House and restore the Department of Injustice, which Trump has called it, to the Department of Justice, with my Attorney General who strongly opposes treason, who strongly opposes treason against the United States. So he's going to find himself an Attorney General who opposes treason and take action there on supposedly Mark Milley and perhaps other individuals who he feels may have. Well, I don't want to go in that direction. I want to focus here on Mark Milley. He's proposing here that in my cartoon, okay, this is something that I wrote up that I feel is in line with former president's thinking, because he said it would be continued. So how will it be continued? He's not continuing it now. He's going to wait till he is elected president of the United States again, and then it will be continued on Truth Social. So that's my expansion, hypothetical expansion based upon what former President Trump has said, and it appears he's intending to take retributive actions on people who are not supportive of him. And there was him and Milley did not get along that well towards the end. So there you have it. That's the foundation of my cartoon here. Not to go beyond that and try to say other things. Just to focus here on General Mark Milley, who has an excellent record and an outstanding in terms of his performance as a general. And here is that cartoon here. There it is. Thumbs up to Paul Gosar. All right. Okay. Now, here we go to numero uno de los semanas. Number one of the week is Vladimir Putin here. Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay, now this is President Putin's response. Again, this is my creation. I want you to take this with a grain of salt in a way that this is my interpretation of what the result will be if we stop military aid and aid to Ukraine. And all this talk going on now with appointing a new House of Representatives, the speaker, a new speaker. One of the individuals involved who's a strong contender and who's put his hat in the ring does not want to aid Ukraine. So that means it's possible that no bills will get to the floor that aid Ukraine. And he has said Representative Jordan, Jim Jordan, has said that he will. He's not for it, and his reasoning is that basically that people don't really care that much about it. They care more about what's going on with the border and securing our border. It has to be number one, and we can't secure our border and put money into Ukraine at the same time. And that what happens over there basically is of no consequence to us. That's his basic theory, because the American people are not for that. They don't support it, and so it doesn't really matter. We don't have to support Ukraine because the American people don't support it. And if I go, well, that's the thrust of his thinking here. Okay, so I come back again to you and say, it's my own thought. So you take it the way you want. Before ahead of World War II, until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, nobody, the majority of Americans were against getting into World War II. There were a lot of isolationists then, and it was only if the Japanese had not bombed Pearl Harbor, the Nazis would have gone on doing what they were doing over there. So anyway, that's my thought. So you can't always again. Jordan is kind of saying that this is a political decision based upon what the American people want. It's not. He's putting the. I'm not saying he's putting the American people ahead of he's not thinking of the American people, but sometimes the majority of the American people are not always right, and that this is a classic example of what happened ahead of World War II. The majority of American people did not want to enter into World War II, and they were saying we're safe here in America, and that was before nuclear weapons and everything like that, and that was back in the Stone Age. So we're going back into the Stone Age now. Our thinking is a suggestion that I'm making in a way. Okay, so you got to look at the world and see the world and do what's best for the United States, and understand that sometimes you have to think that way. All right, so here's the cartoon here. Okay, there's Russian President Putin. Okay, Russian President Putin vision. Russia flag raised over the Ukraine capital city of Kiev. That amid news of the U.S. Congress passing funding bill avoiding a government shutdown and keeping open for 45 days, but failing to fund additional Ukraine aid. Given Ukrainian President Zelensky says Ukraine will lose war against Russia without U.S. aid. Okay, there's no question about it that if we cut off our aid to Ukraine, they're going to slowly shift, and the accomplishments that they made will all be negated, because they can't fight a war without. They need our parts, and they need all those. I think they call them HIMARS, those long range missiles that they fire, and without that, so the war will end in Russia in President Putin's favor. Let's put it that way. Okay, so here's President Putin now saying, "Thank you, MAG America," and this is here the Russian flag flying over the capital of Kiev in place of the Ukrainian flag. Yellow and blue. The yellow and blue goes down. The white, blue, and the red goes up over the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. When America pulls out, the outcome of America pulling out their aid to Ukraine. And here's Russian President Putin. He's watching all this. And there he is. And I wrote this in Russian to give it a little authenticity here. This is in Russian. I won't even try to pronounce it, but this is thank you in Russian. Thank you, MAGA America. And this is thank you in, again, Russian. But this is really what we're doing. And even this talk about not supporting Ukraine is helpful because it has to have some effect on the fighting morale of the Ukrainian soldiers out there. Has to. So even this talk about it is negating in a way, more than in a way. So anyway, again, Russian President Putin, watching here. Here is the capital city of Ukrainian capital city of Kiev. A fire, there you see. I try to capture what I saw on television, the buildings burning. Okay. And here is the Russian flag flying over the capital of Kiev. The future of Ukraine if we break off our aid. This is the future. And President Putin taking all this in with great confidence that he will succeed in his endeavor here. All right, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching my cartoon countdown today, and God bless you, and God bless America. I'll see you next time, folks. Take care. Bye.